ค Live from the Michigan International Speedway, it is Challenger Cup Series playoff racing. As the round of 8 wraps up tonight, race 16 of the season brings us to the Michigan International Speedway, the virtual Irish Hills of Brooklyn, Michigan. My name is Dawson Wise. You're watching PGR eSports. Apologies for the really late start tonight. I was really hoping that I would be all set to go earlier tonight. I've got to change the setting on my end real quick in terms of my Discord audio, but while I'm doing that, I thought I'd be here earlier tonight. It did not work out. Unfortunately, life, as it usually does, and I'm sure we all know, gets in the way. It got in the way tonight, but here we are. Better late than never as the round of 8 wraps up. Under caution for the first time tonight, actually listing as the second time tonight on the tower on the left side of your screen. And James Coytrone, Andrew Little, and Hunter Carlson are involved. 2 of those cars are playoff cars as of this week. So we'll run down the playoff field here under the caution. We'll take a quick look back at this one and kind of get you caught up to speed on exactly what is going down tonight, what the stakes are for this race at the Michigan International Speedway. I will preface, I'm checking audio levels as well, but I will preface by saying today, iRacing got a pretty major update, and it involved the next-gen race cars. And from what I have heard, I have not had a chance to test this, they do not drive like they used to. They do not drive nearly as well as they used to. And you see right here, Andrew Little off turn number 2 onto the backstretch. You saw him slide, kind of wiggle a little bit. He slid again, got hit by Cody Eldred. At first made the save, but then you see it snap again and as he's trying to save it. This is kind of what we're dealing with now. They have pulled some grip out of these cars, pulled a little downforce out of these cars, and boy, James Coytrone must have been something else that happens here because he hangs a left out of line, and boy, just plows into the 68 of Andrew Little. So there must have been something else that happened back here around Coytrone, and boy, that is not a good angle in the slightest. But let's go back here to Coytrone. Let's see what happens back here for him. Does he have a moment as well? Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on there. Weird. It's a weird incident there for Coytrone. He gets into Little. They wreck up in front of these guys as well. And that is Hunter Carlson. It appears he just goes for a spin after the wreck has already begun. So, caution out for the first time. Let's get you caught up on where things stand as we get ready to go back green on lap 15. Stage is just about 8 laps away. We'll take our first break at the stage. But meanwhile, the playoffs tonight come into the final race of the round of 8. And coming out of tonight, John Velocity last week won his way in to the Championship 4 via a win in Nashville. Harold Watkins has pointed his way in the 3 machine. Those are the only 2 cars locked in. Green flag going to go back in the air on lap 15. It's Christian Schrader and GT Irizarry out front. Here is why tonight is so major as the field stacks up a little bit. Lap 15 on the board. 76 still remaining in this race. Here is why. Okay, sorry, they did something weird to my timing, but here is kind of the rest of the scenarios. I don't know why they made these cars quiet. At the stage break, I'll switch it and make them a little bit louder. I'm not sure what's going on there, but here's why, that wreck was specifically important. Third in the points tonight is GT Irizarry. Runs second on the racetrack. He is 1 point above the cut line. Fourth in points tonight on the cut line is Travis Everett. And actually, Irizarry is 6 points ahead of the driver in 5th. Everett is 5 points ahead. Andrew Little tonight, 5 points off the cut line, was just involved in that incident. Matt Hayden runs 5th on the racetrack, but is 8 points off of Travis Everett. Will need to probably either have some bad luck happen or go up there and win the race. And then 2 drivers are in must-win positions. James Coytrone in the 38, who was also involved in that incident, and Justin Malarkey. Why is Justin Malarkey interesting, you may ask? Well, it's because of what happened back at Charlotte, and we'll show you why here coming up shortly. But Malarkey so far, not a ton of speed. He's got to pick it up just a little bit if he would like to get in. He has to win. He's 43 points below the cut line. So Irizarry, Everett, Little, and Hayden are points racing tonight. Velocity and Watkins just trying to hold on to some momentum. Coytrone and Malarkey in must-win positions should the situation call for it. Schrader leads lap 17. 6 laps to go until the stage break. It's about lap 23. But I did mention the 73 Malarkey, who currently runs well off the pack. He is way back here. But again, if you'll remember back to Charlotte, Malarkey did not run particularly well for much of the race, and late in the race he found himself some speed just by adjusting the car, working on it throughout the night, kind of figuring out his own line and working his way through it. He was able to find a way to better his race and to get himself in a position to win, and he's going to have to tonight, but so far it is very bleak for the Malarkey machine. Christian Strader is out front, but Irizarry challenges him now from second. Everett is coming into the battle as well behind them. Another start for Cody Eldred. He runs fourth, and then it's Watkins who can kind of cruise tonight a little bit for the fifth position. For the lead, here comes Irizarry to the bottom. He will dive into the bottom lane underneath Strader, who runs way up the speedway. Let's see if Irizarry can carry the momentum, or if Strader will use that exit speed to remain alongside the Motorcraft Ford Mustang. He will. He'll come down to use some side draft, get back up off the side draft going into one, and he'll try to carry that speed down through the banking. Irizarry by a nose. And on entry, Strader goes to the fence. This is a line you're going to see a lot of guys run later in the run on tires. Drives it down, arcs it to the third lane, is able to grab that right rear quarter panel of Irizarry and remain in the lead. Everett has come into this battle as well. Eldred holding off Watkins, Hayden, and Rusty Modesty out back of him. Curtis Preston is there as well. Irizarry again to the bottom. This time Strader runs way down, and that time a little bit better exit for Strader is going to allow him to remain out front. Irizarry trying to grab some side draft. He's going to get to the left rear. He's going to try to pull that 29 car backwards. He'll do just that here on entry. He'll nose ahead again into one. Everett is there. Strader that same line. This time Irizarry runs up. Strader can't find his natural arc in the corner, and Irizarry is razor thin to clearing him, and he will. New leader in the Irish Hills is GT Irizarry. Third place Everett is in this battle now, only 4/10 back of these cars. Harold Watkins gets to fourth around Eldred. Now he'll try to come forward. And meanwhile, Justin Malarkey is 19 seconds behind the pack. He is at risk of getting lapped. There will not be enough laps left, but boy, he's got to find some speed and find it quickly. You wonder if there is some conservative driving going on for Malarkey. A situation 2 weeks ago at Charlotte between him, Harold Watkins, and John Velocity, both of which are now locked into the playoffs and would, and I say this completely hypothetically, ladies and gentlemen, but they would both have nothing to lose should they want to engage in some retaliatory actions against that car, against the 73 car. Now, it should be noted, Velocity not in the field tonight in the 84, but locked into the playoffs. So, Velocity is not here, but Harold Watkins is, and I kind of wonder, is Malarkey just, is he saving a set of tires, perhaps? I'm not sure they're limited tonight, but, is he just saving his equipment, maybe trying to flip strategy? Or is it just, hey, I'm going to stay off the pack and kind of wait because I don't want to get up front. I don't want to be around Harold Watkins, and I want to make it, no incentive for him to come back. I mean, because Malarkey, ladies and gentlemen, he's running 4 seconds slower than the leaders. I mean, that is abnormal for a guy that's been fast all season and finds himself in the round of 8 of the playoffs. It's abnormal for a guy to be running that slow. You think, oh, well, he just doesn't really have it. I'd think that about, some of the guys 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, they're 4, 5, 6 seconds off the lead. As Cody Eldred has some network issues, the 10 is blinked completely out. That's a tough break for him, as he was running in the 4th position. Make that the 5th position. Last lap of stage number 1. Strader trying to get there on Irizarry will not. Everett going to try to get to the left rear of Strader down the back straightaway. A battle continuing there for second. And he will dip out of line. Everett to the inside of Strader. That's for second. Everett doesn't need to win, but as close as that cut line is, you'd almost rather go up there and get the job done. Irizarry's kind of in the same boat, only 6 points in front of Little. Everett is 5 points in front of Little. And Matt Hayden looms as well, that he could get a win and potentially make his way to the championship for one of those final 2 spots as well. 23 complete. Stage is over. GT Irizarry, Travis Everett, Christian Strader, Harold Watkins, and Matt Hayden collect stage points. Updating the points for you after stage number 1. I believe Hayden will go not quite to the cut line, but he'll only be 2 back of Andrew Little now. But Irizarry is now going to be 11 points clear of Andrew Little, and Everett is going to be 9 points clear of him after stage number 1. Matt Hayden only 2 back of Andrew Little now, but he'll be 13 back of Irizarry and 11 back of Everett, respectively. And again, Coytrone and Malarkey are in must-win positions. So The gap just got a little bit more manageable for GT Irizarry and Travis Everett under the first caution flag of the night, or excuse me, the third caution flag of the night, the first stage caution of the night, and the only stage caution of the night. We're going to go to a break. When we return, it's stage 2 from Michigan. The round of 8 continues. Let's remind you how we got here and remind you about why Justin Malarkey may be driving the way he is tonight in Michigan. We'll be right back from the Irish Hills. Let's go take a look back at Charlotte. And if these guys stay side by side, which it appears they will, Strader's going to get there.
Still there.
Malarkey's there as well. Where do you go if you're Justin Malarkey? He's going to look 3 wide. Malarkey goes to the bottom of 3 wide for the lead. The leader's in the fence. Strader all the way out. Trouble. Velocity gets crashed into the outside wall. We keep it green. Everybody wall. Can he get to him off the front 4? He will not. Justin Malarkey survives and wins at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the best race of the season by far.
Thank you, Malarkey. Thank you.
All out. Inside's clear.
I mean, I was pretty low. I'll check the replay.
This is why. Look, this move is not great. I think those guys are upset. We saw John Velocity after the race. He was very obviously upset.
Dawson, I didn't think I did one thing wrong. I made a move to come out of the corner slower, significantly slower. I make the move. I put my left side tires on the blue line, my left rear tire on the blue line, barely even on the blue line.
I never touched it. What did you got right there, you stupid mother? I never touched it.
I have nothing to apologize except to myself for even doubting that I did something wrong.
Welcome back to Michigan International Speedway. A little flashback there to what occurred in Charlotte a couple weeks ago, and certainly no love lost between the drivers involved there, and it kind of drags into the playoffs, and it's really interesting. Apologies, I'm trying to get this link going here. I was trying to get it up on my phone so I can see the YouTube chat. I'm way behind tonight, but no, it's always interesting to go back and watch that in the playoffs because, you know, now in the round of 8, it's like, well, you've got a driver who needs to win, and you've got a driver who really, at this point, doesn't have a ton to lose. Now, again, speculation would say if the retaliation is obvious enough, obviously there were some words a couple weeks ago. If it's obvious enough, that it is intentional retaliation, would there be any consequences for a championship race next week? You have to take that into consideration, but it will be interesting because so far, Dustin Malarkey, and in fact, he's back on pit road. Oh, goodness. Mike Martino has spun sideways on pit road. He's going to get that car righted. Malarkey has gone back to his pit box. This was abnormal. I get being a little off the pace and, to a degree, being 6, 7, 8 seconds off the leader, especially if you don't have time to practice. It's a brand new update as well. These cars do not drive like they did literally yesterday. So, again, to a degree, I kind of get it. But at the same time, man, he was 4 seconds slower than the leaders. And, again, Malarkey has had a really good season. A winner at Charlotte, a winner at Darlington. And those are, not necessarily easy tracks, especially in this car. Darlington, especially, that place is tough. And for him to be running that slowly, to me, it's either, maybe it is the update. Maybe that's something, there's something to that. But also, I just wonder if he was riding casually because he knows there is the possibility that, something could happen. You obviously don't want to jeopardize your season, so maybe, just bide your time. Let it get to about lap 50, then kind of, try to work your way up. But you got to get in position to win. And in this car, it's tough to pass. And we'll have to wait and see. Lap 28 about to go on the board. If you're Justin Malarkey, if you're James Coitrone, you got to kick it in gear and try to find a way to get yourself to victory lane. Curtis Preston, bit of a pit strategy flip on the pit lane. He'll inherit the lead. Green flag back in the air, and away we go. Once again for Michigan, it's Preston off by a car length on Schrader. Schrader on the bottom, pushed by Irizarry. They're going to have a nice little run here into turn number 1, but Preston by a car length, maybe almost 2. By the time we reach the banking of turn 1. To the bottom comes Christian Schrader. He wants the lead. Watkins is on the outside. That's the points leader. And Irizarry still fighting that cut line. 11 points, certainly a little bit easier than than the 5 he was up just a moment ago. So it could get a lot more relaxed for Irizarry unless one of those must-win drivers comes up and wins the race, in which case he will be in a points battle with his teammate Travis Everett. They are running really closely together on the racetrack right now. Straight to the bottom on the apron will inherit the lead. Preston alongside him. Battle for the lead continues as Harold Watkins enters the party for the first time tonight in the 3rd position. Then it's Irizarry. Carlson up rim riding on the fence. Modesty behind them. And then they fan out from there where you find James Coytrone. You find a couple of other cars as well. Notably, so far in this early second run, Malarkey running a little bit harder, is now only under 2 seconds off of the field. So again, we will wait and see. I'd be remiss to say I wasn't coming in anticipating, any meeting between the 3 and the 73. It's just, that's the race fan at heart in you that sees conflict, that sees something like that happen. You want them to be somewhat close together at one point in the race. You want to be able to have that conflict, and the broadcaster side of me does too, to be fully honest with you. But so far, just not a lot of raw speed from Malarkey. Now, I will say he's a lot faster on this run. He's actually running competitive times with the leaders. We'll see if that sticks as the run goes on. Remember, 2 weeks ago at Charlotte, he ran outside the top 7 for most of the night and only led about the last 4 laps under green as he charged to the front on a late restart and was able to take advantage late. And that 3-wide move in the trial, and we heard him say after the race, he kind of just worked on it all night until something clicked, it worked, and he found some speed. We'll see if the same happens tonight at the Michigan International Speedway. Strader on the bottom, Preston on the outside. Watkins runs 3rd with Hunter Carlson back in 4th, and Irizarry is 5th. Eldred will blend right here with the leaders, so this is going to get hairy for a moment. As the 10 comes up, there might be 3 wide here for a second in turn 3, but a very wide racetrack. Means you can afford to do that. Oh, don't run Strader too far down. 3 wide for a moment. Strader lifts out of the gas. He actually ran him down. He's actually going to pick up Cody Eldred here, so it was intentional by Strader to keep him in the lead draft and potentially keep him in the lucky dog position should we get there, but 8 laps down. Going to be hard for him to get that without several consecutive cautions in this one. Preston continues to lead. It's Watkins and Carlson side by side for second. How about the charge to the front by the 32? Then it's Strader, then it's Irizarry, and then Modesty and James Coytrone is hanging around just a little bit. Reminder, he has to win tonight. Does not have a choice. He wants his season to continue. He will now have to win. I mean, he really does now. He's, I believe, 22 points off the cut line. You cannot get that many positions in race points, so you will have to win if you're James Coytrone now, if it wasn't already a done deal. And to be fully honest, with how the 14 and the 13 are running, at this point, if you're Andrew Little, I think you're starting to get in that mindset as well that, look, I don't really have a choice. Now, 10 points back of Everett, 9 points back of Everett, and 11 back of Irizarry. You can gain that many points, hypothetically, but you'd have to have them undergo some trouble. And while Everett is certainly not running where he would like to, Andrew Little runs 13th, and that's just not going to be enough points with where both those cars are running to get him in. Strader continues to battle for second. He's hold off. He's actually gone back by Carlson. Now he goes back by Harold Watkins, so Christian Strader's got something here on this second run, approaching lap 40. 56 to go at the line. And really everybody's still somewhat under a blanket, even back to those last couple cars in line who still have a sniff of draft. Back there in Malarkey and Andrew Little. Preston, Strader, Watkins, Carlson. Top 4 within about 8 car lengths of each other. Irizarry rides behind them. Carlson to the fence, trying to grab the right rear of Watkins. Slams the door on him, and Carlson gets the fence. No prisoners tonight for the driver of the 3. Points leader coming into tonight, and the driver who is locked in to next week's Championship 4 certainly has been the all-around best car. I don't think that's unfair to anybody around him in points. 36 on the board, 55 to go. And I mean, while it is a little more competitive now, there's just not much speed for Justin Malarkey tonight in the 73. It's a struggle. Andrew Little struggling as well, but again, still a long way to go. Some pit cycles, and we have seen before that Justin Malarkey, when he gets the right pit number, he loves to work that strategy. Big moment on the inside. That was Strader. He got the apron. That car flew out of his hands. Watkins will drive right up the back of him. He'll actually give the 29 a push. To the inside comes Carlson. Will try to pick 2 for 1. Draft on the outside will likely, as it did on Sunday in the Firekeepers Casino 400, prevail. No, it will not. Drive all the way to the bottom. How about Hunter Carlson right now? Schrader going to get back to his outside, but Carlson driving a very respectable race right now at the front of the field. Malarkey's pace is a lot better right here. So early in that first run, about 10 laps in, which is where we're about at now, the leaders were running in the high 39s, and Malarkey was in the 43-second range. Malarkey's last lap was a 40.08 to the leader. Well, actually, we'll get an updated lap right here as they pass by the line. 39.85 for the leader, Curtis Preston. For Malarkey, a 39.82. He was faster than the leader that time on the racetrack. So not all is lost for Justin Malarkey. Not all is lost for Andrew Little, as both try to race their way in. So too does Coytrone, but just not close enough to the front right now. Running back in 7th, actually getting a challenge for 7th from Matt Hayden. As the field looks back down into the banking of turns 3 and 4. Now Watkins is up on the fence. Strader driving away a little bit for the 2nd position, and JT Irizarry has found a little bit of speed in the mid portions of the run as he tries to get up here. Breaking draft is Preston, trying to keep those cars behind him out of the wake that allows them to drag themselves up to him and keep tabs on that 12 machine. You see him likely do it again down here down the back. Let's see if he does it again down the back straight away. Nope, going to hang in line on the safer barrier. Continue just to run where he was. We'll keep an eye on lap times as this run continues. We'll keep up tabs with where the leaders are running. 39.75 for really all 4 of these front 4 cars. The car faster at 39.73. Andrew Little last time around, not a huge difference. Back by the start-finish line. Oh boy, look at this push that Christian Strader is getting from Harold Watkins. The line that time, a 75 for Curtis Preston, a 62 for GT Irizarry, now the fastest car on the speedway, and a 39.80 for Justin Malarkey, who's found pretty competitive speed. 40 up on the board. Check our other must-win drivers. Coytrone, 39.88. Little, a 39.77, even with the leader. Starting to race out back of Preston, though, and that's exactly what he wants to see. They are out of line, and that is slowing them down. Now they get back in line, and they will start to run better times again when they're all lined up. Time sheet, best car on track last time, the Oscar Mayer Chevy. James Coytrone, a 39.61 to the leaders, 39.74. 39.63, Andrew Little is the 2nd fastest on track. 3rd fastest, folks, it's Justin Malarkey. He's slowly but surely finding race-winning speed. And this is another pretty wide-open 2-mile racetrack where you can make a similar move to Charlotte. We'll see how that works out. As we get later in the race, obviously, as things ebb and flow and we figure out who's going to be in contention, boy, I tell you, Curtis Preston looks awfully good right now. 6/10 out in front of the field. Really, his gap has not wavered even as we've gotten deep into the run. That speed has not yet wavered for the 12. As he continues to run out front. The battle is behind him. In fact, no offense to Curtis Preston. But we're going to bring it back here to 2nd on back. They are 3 wide here. Carlson outside. Irizarry middle. Strader on the inside. Look at this battle. We'll follow on as the battle actually remains for 3rd. Strader drops off these 2. We've got a dogfight, though, going on back here around these cars. Continue to watch lap times. Watkins now faster than Preston by almost 0.2 of a second. A couple other cars faster. Modesty in the 39.7. So is Hayden. So is Travis Everett. So Brandon Beauchamp, Stephen Luttrell, cars are starting to find a little bit of speed and can make this real interesting. Oh, man, Irizarry throws the door shut in Hunter Carlson's face like he wasn't invited to the party. Like the marketing loiterer going door to door, Carlson gets that front door slammed right in his face. And Irizarry drives away now from the 32. Look at this line. Carlson's as high as anybody, a half lane off the wall. We didn't see anybody venture up there in that cup race on Sunday. Carlson ventures up there tonight. And I'm not sure. Oh, that sounded like a cool camera angle. It was not. He drives right back to the bottom here of Irizarry. Used that exit speed off 4. Hunter Carlson's really fast tonight. Irizarry goes back by him with the crossover. Hunter Carlson's really fast tonight. This 32's got some speed. And he's running up with the leaders, trying to throw haymakers. Meanwhile, up front, the battle for the lead is on. Harold Watkins has the ride. The points leader is to the back bumper of Curtis Preston, but GT Irizarry is slowly but surely reeling these guys in from third. Then it's Carlson, and then it's Cody Eldred, who is several laps down, 8 to be exact. Strader runs 5th, Modesty up to 6th. Then it's Hayden, Everett, Little, and Coytrone. Beauchamp, Luttrell, Malarkey, the last 3 on the lead lap, and Malarkey is slowly running faster times than the race leaders. One of the fastest cars on the racetrack last time was the 73. But again, kind of taking his time. And again, to be frank, I don't really blame him. You saw the clip we showed a minute ago. If not, I may show it again for those that are just joining us. 2 weeks ago at Charlotte, the incident between the 73, the 84, and the 3 boiled over a bit after the race. There were frustrations. There were tempers. Malarkey is in a must-win position tonight in that 73 machine where he has no other path to the Final Four. He must win tonight at the Michigan International Speedway if he wants to race next week at Pocono for a Challenger Cup Series championship. Preston held off that charge from Watkins and Irizarry. He maintains the lead halfway already here in Michigan. Next time, 43 to go. And we are closing in on what should be pit stops. And if we can get all the way to about lap 56 or 57, we're talking about perhaps that being the only stop of the race. Actually, we may have to get a little closer to lap 60 under green, but we're closing in on the lap where the window would be open or where we could start to see some fuel strategy, and that's where Coytrone, Little, and Malarkey, I think, are wild cards in this, because I don't really think you have a choice if you're one of those cars. You have to go for the win. You have no choice. If it's on pit road, it's on pit road. You stay out, you try to run it long. If these guys up here can't, if they pit early, you're really going to have no choice but to try to run it long. Only pit once. Maybe those guys run out of gas. It's turning in, ironically enough, to Sunday afternoon's Michigan Cup Series race, which ended on fuel mileage. And who could go the longest? The Hendrick cars could not. Several other cars towards the back ran out of gas as well, but Denny Hamlin was able to stretch his fuel tank and win the race. If you're one of those guys back there that has to win, I mean, none of them really have race-winning speed. Andrew Little might, and that's 68. He's running really competitive lap times right now. Coytrone's not too far off. For Malarkey, the times are just not competitive enough right now to justify trying to stay on strategy with these guys. I think you really just have to go for it. Remember, back at Kansas, Hunter Carlson borderline ran his tank out, coming to the checkered flag, and was able to capture a victory. Do you remember, by chance, who the other driver was that engaged in that strategy to stretch his fuel tank and make it all the way to the end? Folks, that was James Coytrone, who was in a must-win position tonight. He knows how to get the fuel strategy races won. He will need another miracle like that tonight if he is to make the playoffs next week. Battle for the lead is on again. Preston on the outside, Watkins on the inside. This time, it's Watkins to the left rear. He'll grab side draft down the front stretch, 40 to go, as Watkins looks for the lead. Into one, he'll dive it deep. Preston runs his line, and new leader in Michigan, it is Harold Watkins. Slides up in front, and Preston's going to choose to lift. He'll cross over and try to get back on the left rear. Oh, no, car around right in the middle of the field. Oh, my goodness. Well, that was almost interesting. As the leaders were coming down the back straightaway, Mike Martino was right in the middle of the groove and had to jump out of the way. We're going to take a look at what happened to the 75. It had a problem back here. Let's see what happened. Again, the update is out. These cars snap a lot worse than they did before. Oh boy, that thing just gets wicked tight on exit. Martino goes for a spin. Oh man, nose is hard on the outside. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually has a little bit of suspension damage here. As he bounces, tank slaps the wall, and then he's sitting backwards. You're looking out your window going, oh boy, here come the leaders. And he's got to duck out of the way as quick as possible. And luckily gets out of the way of the field. In time to reset and go to pit road. Could be the end of his night. That was a big hit on the outside wall from Martino. A tough break. But back live, the race off pit road. While they do it, we're going to play it one more time. If you're just joining us, we're going to remind you how we got here and the stakes for a couple drivers in the field, including your race leader, Harold Watkins. Let's go take one more look at what happened at Charlotte. If you're just joining us, here's a look at that clip once again from Charlotte Motor Speedway 2 weeks ago of a situation we could see later on in the race. And if these guys stay side by side, which it appears they will, Strader's going to get there.
Still there.
Malarkey's there as well. Where do you go if you're Justin Malarkey? He's going to look 3 wide. Malarkey goes to the bottom of 3 wide for the lead. The leader's in the fence. Strader all the way out. Trouble. Velocity gets crashed into the outside wall. We keep it green. Everybody wall. Can he get to him off the front 4? He will not. Justin Malarkey survives and wins at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the best race of the season by far.
Thank you, Malarkey. Thank you.
Car low. Inside's clear.
I mean, I was pretty low. I'll check replay.
This is why. Look, this move is not great. I think those guys are upset. We saw John Velocity after the race. He was very obviously upset.
Dawson, I didn't think I did one thing wrong. I made a move to come out of the corner slower, significantly slower. I make the move. I put my left side tires on the blue line, my left rear tire on the blue line, barely even on the blue line.
I never touched it. Wave me out like there, you stupid mother. I never touched it.
I have nothing to apologize except to myself for even doubting that I did something wrong.
So again, if you were not here for Charlotte, that is kind of how we got here, and that's the stakes. And the stakes are raised because one of those drivers, Justin Malarkey, who won back at Charlotte, missed last week's race and is now in a must-win position. Oh, by the way, Harold Watkins is P2, so if you're going to win the race, you're going to have to go through him if you are Justin Malarkey. Because some interesting storylines on pit road. It's potentially the final pit stop. We'll have to see how far these guys can go. It's now a fuel mileage race. Andrew Little, ignore where it says pit. I don't know why it's doing that, but regardless, ignore where it says pit. He is the leader. And he made a bit of a strategy call right here to get out front. And with 36 to go, we'll have a chance to restart as the leader in what I believe to be a virtual must-win position at this point in time. Harold Watkins will restart second. Curtis Preston and GT Irizarry back on row 3 with Hunter Carlson and Christian Schrader on row 4. Matt Aiden is 7th. The interesting driver here that I'm going to want to watch with Andrew Little leading, and by the way, Justin Malarkey came off pit road 5th, but came back to pit again, perhaps trying a fuel strategy in that 73 machine. So with those two kind of starting to find something here, the interesting one to me is Travis Everett. He is 2 points behind GT Irizarry in the points. If Andrew Little, James Coytrone, or Justin Malarkey were to win this race, there would then only be one position remaining in the championship for one of those two cars, which means Everett would have to then go past GT Irizarry. And I want to say, I mean, to safely get in front of him, you'd have to be 3 positions in front of him to beat him. You'd be 2 positions to tie. Based on the tiebreaker, I'm not sure how that ends up. I don't know if it's better finish in the round that is the tiebreaker, but we'll have to wait and see if that occurs, if they were to tie. But keep an eye on the 14 and the 13, assuming one of these non-winning cars, the cars below the cut line, goes on to win this race tonight. Green flag back in the air. Andrew Little leads him off to turn 1. 36 laps to go with Little trying to pull an ace out of his sleeve and get to the championship 4 via a strategy call. He will try to hold off the horde behind him. Preston settles into 3rd. Carlson looking for 4th on Irizarry. Ooh, couple cars out of line. That was Cody Eldred in the outside wall. Beauchamp had to jump out. Malarkey had to jump out. And Beauchamp may go around. He's trying to hold on to it. And he will. Big save there. Back up front in turn 4. It's Watkins looking for the lead on Andrew Little, who's trying to play some defense. Doing everything he can to stay in front of the 3 of Harold Watkins. Little to the bottom, really that second lane, which is about where you'll see guys go. Now drifts all the way to the bottom. Preston, by the way, is holding off a fierce run from behind him. Irizarry, Strader, Everett. Everett now only 2 positions behind Irizarry. Should Andrew Little go to victory lane, but he will be challenged for the lead here in turn 3. It's Watkins to the inside. Now, if Watkins is able to get the lead and get in front of Andrew Little, both of those cars in the positions they run right now would make the championship 4. Little, though, is able to keep the lead. And I almost wonder if you're Irizarry or Everett here, I wonder if you're kind of thinking, okay, now I'm just going to go try to win the race at this point, because then it's kind of a win-win for those 2 guys. They run together as it is. And if they can get one of them in victory lane and keep the 68 from going to victory lane, then they both get in. Then they're both racing next week, and all of a sudden, things are going a little bit better for you. Now, I should preface, Andrew Little is only 9 points behind Travis Everett right now. Everett, at one point in the race, was running back around that 10th position. If he free falls again, theoretically, Andrew Little could pass him on points. I mean, it would take basically a 2nd and 11th, or a 2nd and a 12th, or a 3rd and a 13th. It would take something drastic, but it's not impossible. We'll just have to keep an eye on both of those cars for now. Andrew Little continues a valiant effort, holding the lead out front over Harold Watkins. Watkins has tried every line he can. Now he'll go to the outside as Little runs the middle lane. Curtis Preston trying to close. Irizarry diving out a line on him. And both of those cars are approaching the battle for the lead. Strader's not too far back of that. But he's challenged by Hunter Carlson, who will slide up in front of him for 5th. Coitron is 9th, only about 1.6 seconds back of the leaders. Malarkey is 4.5 seconds back. I have a funny feeling. Maybe it's just me. And we'll have to kind of wait and get an eye test on this later. I wonder, that first run, when Justin Malarkey was kind of really slowing the pace down, he was 19 seconds behind the leaders at one point, even further than that. I almost wonder, was he testing fuel saving in the opportunity that he could save enough gas to go the length of the race on a late run and maybe go to victory lane? Was that what he was testing? Because his times are slow, and to me, earlier, if you'll remember, on that second run, right after the stage caution, that second long run, I should say, the 73 Malarkey was running competitive times with the leaders. This run, he's kind of backed it off towards that earlier pace where he's 2.5 seconds off the leaders. Is he going to try this? I mean, if you don't have the winning speed, I mean, I know he has competitive speed, but if he doesn't have race-winning speed, do you truly have anything to lose than to try to save gas and win it that way? We've already seen him do it this season. Christian Strader runs out on the last lap at Darlington, and we've seen Hunter Carlson do it at Kansas. We've seen fuel work twice this season on this kind of let me save fuel, let me turn the car off, let me do some crazy stuff kind of strategy with only 30 to go. Keep an eye on that red, white, and green 73 Ford Mustang. He might have something up his sleeve here. And boy, how cool will that be? Meanwhile, it may not matter, at least for the time being, because Andrew Little's out front of the field and has held off the advance of Watkins, and now Curtis Preston, who looks for second. Irizarry is there, so is Strader, so is Carlson, and so is James Coitrone. And boy, the 38 could make this interesting. If he manages to get up here, then it's two must-win cars, or, you know, a quasi-must-win car in Andrew Little and Coitrone, and then you add the Malarkey fuel thing. I mean, this race is going to be a fun one to watch the conclusion of. And now, as they come back to the line, 28 laps to go in the round of 8. We are 28 laps from setting a Final Four for the Challenger Cup Series in the Season 1 here of 2025. For the lead on the front straightaway, it's Watkins on the inside. It's Little on the outside. Will Little chase him here into 1? He will not. Watkins gets back to the lead. Little crosses over. He'll try to drive back underneath the 3. If he can grab that left rear, he'll have a look back at the lead. It's going to be very close. He gets blocked down the back straightaway by Watkins, and that may be all she wrote, because here comes Curtis Preston for second. Well, you can take a deep breath if you're Justin Malarkey, or really Travis Everett, who runs all the way back in that 10th spot. And right now, scratch your head a little bit. If you're Travis Everett, this is a tough run for him tonight. He's struggling to find speed. Andrew Little, he's got to hope that free fall continues and Little does not stay in this battle for the win, or he'll be in a very precarious points position. Back into 1, the lead 6 make it now 7 cars under a blanket back to James Coitrone. But now, how long will that last? Watkins with the lead often spells danger for the rest of the field, and right now it's exactly what it's doing, as down the back straightaway starts to pull a bit of a gap on Curtis Preston and Andrew Little and the remainder of the field. Carlson, Strader going back and forth, waving around all the racetrack, going for the 5th position as those two continue to battle. Then it's Coitrone, then it's Hayden not far off of that, then it's Everett now up to 9th, so in a much better position. Only 6 points would be lost now, though back to 7 as he battles with Stephen Luttrell down the front straightaway. 26 laps to go. Preston, Little hanging on. So is Irizarry, who I think has good long run speed. Strader has been good on the long run as well. Strader's really good now that the fence is starting to rubber in. Oh my goodness, he throws it all the way to the bottom. 4 wide at Michigan. Contact, Little, oh trouble. GT Irizarry, a playoff driver, into the outside while he goes around. The 14 involved in a crash with 25 to go. And that is the last thing he needed, as he is involved in an incident here on lap number 65, and there is suspension damage to the 14. We'll follow him here for a moment because we got to see if he has a fast repair here left in the pit road. All right, just threw Justin Malarkey's strategy out the window. So Irizarry involved in a crash. Let's go back really quickly, and then we'll go back and update you on pit road. They were 4 wide for the what ended up being the 2nd position here somehow off of turn number 2. I don't even know really how this got started in terms of them being 4 wide. Watch up ahead. Curtis Preston is 2nd. Oh, he's got a lift. He's way up the racetrack. He gets the wall, so he has to lift. Little lifts. Irizarry lifts. And they all kind of try to find gaps. Little goes to the inside. Irizarry's going to shoot the gap between those 2 cars. And Christian Strader has a big enough run. He goes all the way to the white line. And this just doesn't work. Now let's see kind of where this starts. They meet in the middle a little bit. Oh man, Irizarry coming down just door knocks the 68 of Little, and trying to correct it back goes sideways and goes right across the nose of Curtis Preston and right fronts. Excuse me, it puts him right front first into the outside wall, and I think created some wheel damage on that 14 machine that he will likely have to use a fast repair for if he has one available in the pits, which will be a big storyline here in the late going of the race. This was not good for GT Irizarry. This is not what you wanted to see. There's the contact between him and Little, then between him and Preston, and it ends up with the Motorcraft Ford Mustang pointed the wrong direction. One more angle, then we go back live. We'll kind of go back to the start of this so you can kind of see where this one unfolds. Watch ahead, Curtis Preston in the wall, and then they just split and end up 4 wide, and not really enough room for 4 wide. A slight misjudgment by the 14. He ends up sideways against the outside wall with damage. A playoff driver in trouble at Michigan International Speedway. As we head back live, we'll take a look at the right front of that race car. We'll see if he did take the fast repair. He did. So that car is fully repaired, but now he is tied on points with Travis Everett with a very short distance to go in the race. And boy, oh boy, did things just get interesting. 23 to go. And James Coytrone has inherited the race lead on a short run. Behind him, Justin Malarkey. And on the inside of row 1, another driver who, as they stand on points, is out. It's Matt Hayden. 3 drivers that could win and upset the playoff format, the playoff field, are in the top 4 on what could be the last restart of the night. The elbows are out. If you're going to win, you've got to be aggressive. Watkins is stuck in 6th. He will have to make quick work of the field in front of him, and with how it worked out with Curtis Preston and Andrew Little, it has not been easy to pass cars. It's really not going to be easy to pass cars when that car in front of you requires a trip to victory lane to extend their season, and 3 of them up here do. Well, Matt Hayden, I guess, hypothetically doesn't. He is, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 10 points out, but at this point, you really didn't have any other choice. I just, with as small the field is tonight and a couple cars laps down as well, I just don't think you can make up the points. You can't trust it. A win is going to be the only way. 3 drivers in the top 4 need one. 22 to go in Michigan. Green flag back in the air. It's a great jump for the Oscar Mayer Chevy, and Coytrone is off to the races. It's Malarkey battling with Hayden. That is for the 2nd spot. Folks, the 3 is 2 car lengths back of Justin Malarkey. Keep an eye on the lead, but keep an eye on that as well. Justin Malarkey needs to win. Harold Watkins is not too much of a happy camper with him. Coytrone down the back straightaway. 22 to go. Watkins already to 5th. Looking for 4th on Modesty as Coytrone continues to hold the lead. Watkins drives it to the bottom. Malarkey 2nd. Hayden 3rd. Watkins is 4th. He'll shoot it underneath. Try to get both of those cars in turn 4. It will not happen. Watkins in behind Hayden now as they all try to hold off the run of the 3, the 29. Other cars back behind them. Hayden now goes to 2nd as Coytrone leads the way. 21 laps to go. Hayden to the bottom, trying to hold off Watkins. It's Homestead all over again for 2nd. They are now side by side. Watkins and Malarkey. How does this pan out at the Michigan International Speedway? Look back there. The battle is for 3rd. Let's see if Watkins, does he do anything or does he just drive on by to the sunset? He'll choose option number 2. Malarkey through the middle, trying to make something happen. Watkins gets both of them. And now the race is on. Coytrone looks in the rearview mirror, and he's got company. 20 laps to go in Michigan. 3 wide for Strader, Malarkey, Hayden as their hopes for a championship start to go away. Watkins is up to P2. Coytrone trying to run the best 20 laps of his life. But Watkins is coming, and he is coming in a hurry. Malarkey now gets all the way back up to 3rd. He'll be in line behind the 3 cars. He gets up to Coytrone. If you're James Coytrone, you got to make it hard on Watkins here. You have no other choice. Your season is on the line. Malarkey trying to hold off Schrader. That's for 3rd as Hayden tries to just hold off everybody behind him. In that 5th spot, he's actually about to lose that. Watkins all the way to the back bumper of Coytrone, but Justin Malarkey looms. Much as he did in Charlotte. Schrader, though, to the inside. Another punch here for the 29. He'll try to get past Malarkey. Malarkey runs him down to the apron. It will not happen this time. Coytrone pulls a 10th.5 on Watkins. He's running for everything he's got right now with 19 to go. Hayden is not far behind this. Irizarry and Everett, they see what's going on in front of them and now have to battle each other. Irizarry 9th on the racetrack. Everett is up to 6th right now. It would be Everett in, Irizarry out. Every position matters. It's 3 wide back around those 2. Matt Hayden's in the middle of that mess. And slowly but surely, Watkins has reeled in Coitron, but Justin Malarkey has reeled in Harold Watkins. Off turn 2, 18 laps to go. It's the final stages at Michigan. Malarkey is there. He's found some late race speed. Where have we seen this one before? Coitron by 2/10 over Harold Watkins, who leads by a car length and a half over Malarkey in 3. Schrader, another punch to the bottom of Malarkey. He's trying desperately to get around that 73 machine. He just cannot complete the pass. Here comes Harold Watkins with James Coitron. 17 laps to go. Coitron half a car length in front. How much grace will he get from Harold Watkins? Watkins, a big drive to the bottom of the corner alongside the 38. The 38 not going to alter his line at all. He's going to try to just run that third lane and stay in front of him. He will not. And look at this. In almost a replay of Charlotte. Here comes Malarkey as they battle 2 wide. It's deja vu in the Irish Hills. Watkins on the inside. Coitron not going to run him down. Watkins takes the lead, and now Malarkey has to get on his horse. Off turn 4, coming back to the start-finish line. It's going to be 16 laps to go. Schrader trying to get involved in this. Carlson has made his way to 5th as well. Malarkey's still there. He's just got to find a little bit more speed because Watkins has been so good on long runs. Coitron a lunge to the inside for the lead. He's at least trying to grab quarter panel here off turn number 2. He will not be able to. Big run off the corner from Harold Watkins. Trouble in the back. Brandon Beauchamp is in the outside wall. Curtis Preston involved. So too is Rusty Modesty. And the caution flag is out. And boy, does that make things interesting. Beauchamp, Modesty, and Preston involved in this one, the 6th of the night. Let's go take a look. They were 3 wide. And this was right in front of Travis Everett. This is almost disaster for the 13. Let's make sure the 13 doesn't have any damage in this. This is back around that 10th position towards the tail end of the pack. At this point, Irizarry had gotten back around his teammate. But again, both of them, as of now, would be in. Now we're headed to a restart, so that could very well change. But, ooh, they all just come together. They run out of real estate bad right back there. In that spot, they all really kind of come together at the same time. Everett is able to miss it, so that's a big deal for the 13. And we're actually going to keep it to one replay here. We did kind of see it live as well. They ran out of space, ran out of real estate, but I want to watch the race on pit road if there is one. If there is not, which, well, as of right now, it doesn't look like there's going to be. But if there is not a race on pit road, Carlson's going to pit. Oh, Coitron's going to pit. So does Malarkey, and they're going to bring a bunch of the leaders down pit road. Carlson ends up ducking out. Matt Hayden, Rusty Modesty also coming to pit road. That might be all she wrote for Justin Malarkey and James Coitron, who both pit, but they're also both going to have new tires, so it won't be a ton new, but, and this is notable, all of a sudden this is notable. With the update today, the tires on these next-gen race cars get worn a lot faster, especially when you're running as hard as Watkins and Schrader and Carlson and Irizarry have run. The tires wear a lot quicker than they did pre-update. A 20-lap run, I can't recall exactly what track, but in a 20-lap run on one of the mile-and-a-halfs, the front tires on that next-gen car were 70% and 63% of their original durability. And at a wide-open track like Michigan International Speedway, you have to anticipate that wear is pretty similar in terms of how much stress you put on your tires. Now, with a relatively, this is going to be a short run to the finish, so if you're Malarkey or Coitron who have to win, you're going to be coming from 10th. That's a bit of a tall task, but if the tire wear is that drastic and 4 tires matter that much, could very well be the difference between your season ending tonight and your season continuing next week. We'll see how big the differential is under green. The tires from the leaders back to those cars that just pit, because 3 of them have to win in order to keep their season going. The other is Andrew Little. He stayed out. He runs 7th. It will be 12 laps to go at Michigan as we'll get the green flag. The pace car lights will flip from on to off, indicating there is 1 lap until we go back green. Harold Watkins trying to finish off a roller coaster Michigan race as he leads. Christian Strader is second. GT Irizarry is technically, well, actually he's going to be fourth. Carlson third, then Irizarry. Row 3 is Everett and Luttrell, which Everett, that positioning may become interesting if one of those must-win cars comes up and gets back to the front. Row 4, Andrew Little and Brandon Beauchamp. Then Curtis Preston is the last car on older tires in 9th. The first car on new tires is Justin Malarkey in 10th. Then it's James Coitrone 11th, Matt Hayden 12th, and Rusty Modesty back in 13th. Those 4 cars have 4 fresh tires, and they will attempt to make a very quick sprint to the front of the field. 12 laps, a long time. It's 24 miles to 2-mile oval, so that's a long time. And you can now, I mean, if you're one of those 4 cars, I mean, at this point, 12 laps, it's not going to do a ton of damage to your tires. You are full go. Pedal to the metal. As hard as you can run it, you are going to race it here because, again, you are out of options. I wondered if they thought they were going to bring more cars to the party. They did not, and now the task ahead is tall. But if they get to racing hard enough up front, these 4 will be there. And 3 of them could make this thing really interesting. 12 laps to go in the round of 8 in the Challenger Cup Series. Green flag back in the air. Great run off the top for Harold Watkins. That's going to give Malarkey a great start and give him a bit of a jump on the rest of those cars behind him that have to come and win the race. Malarkey, watch out for the 73. He will have to make it relatively quick, but he loses some ground on the start behind Brandon Beauchamp. And that could very well be all she wrote. He's going to get stuck, but now he can set sail. Coitrone is with him. And those 3, you almost wonder if they have to work together. Don't focus too much on each other. To the bottom, lunge by Christian Strader. Irizarry a half a lane lower. They both try to get to the left rear of Harold Watkins, and Strader may just get there here off turn 4. Will he grab quarter panel? Oh, it's close. Not quite. He'll ride in line. Irizarry there as well. So is Carlson. Andrew Little not too far back. Coitrone has gotten in front of Malarkey. We'll check lap times as they run. Those cars are faster. But are they fast enough? Strader back to the bottom. No advance that time on Watkins. Carlson on Irizarry. That is for 3rd. Coitrone is 9th. That's the closest driver to the front right now on new tires. Malarkey right behind him in 10th. Lunge all the way to the yellow line goes Strader. Again, he'll try for the lead. This time he'll nose a little bit out front and causes a reaction here from Harold Watkins. Christian Strader going to race side by side for the lead with a 3. Back behind them, it's Irizarry Carlson side by side for 3rd. Then it's Travis Everett that runs in the 5th spot. You saw Coitrone on the inside of 3 wide. He's trying to make it happen. He's up to 8th, but he can get no further than that. Now he gets to 7th over Curtis Preston. Strader spinning. He's crashing. Big trouble. Strader into the outside wall. Cars scramble to miss it. Travis Everett is involved. GT Irizarry is involved. The caution flag is out, and the playoff field has blown up here in Michigan. Oh, boy. What a turn of events. Damage on the 13 of Travis Everett. Damage on the 14 of GT Irizarry. Damage on the 29 of Strader. And on the 12 of Curtis Preston. The playoffs just got a little bit more interesting. And Harold Watkins, we'll talk about this in a second. Don't look at the leaderboard. I would just keep his eyes forward. 4 of the top 6 cars are must-win playoff drivers with 9 laps to go. By the way, 3 of them, Coitrone, Hayden, and Malarkey, are on 10-lap newer tires. Whew. Take a breath. Let's go take a look at the replay. Christian Strader got loose on the inside of the racetrack trying to dive underneath Harold Watkins. They raced all the way down the front stretch, and then going into turn number 1, Strader, I believe, is going to clip the apron with the left side tires on the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups Dark Horse. Let's see if that is the case. He gets down there. He's trying to run away from Watkins, who's kind of pinching him. And, oh, yeah, right there. The left sides are down below the yellow line. It slides him sideways. I thought he was going to keep it down or save it. And as he tries to save it, he snaps back to the right. Hunter Carlson's going to get a big piece of this. And there's the big ones. GT Irizarry hits the outside wall. Travis Everett gets a bit of a shunt. Oh, James Coytrone gets a piece of this, but I think he somehow saved that car. I don't know how, but he did. And caution flag number 7 is the most consequential caution flag of the entire Challenger Cup Series season. For more than one reason. Going into turn number 1, Strader going to the inside, trying to win the race. And look, again, I'm not going to, and I know a lot of people, I know, GT Irizarry, I know Travis Everett, I know Hunter Carlson, I know these guys are going to be relatively upset with this from Christian Strader. I get that. But he's trying to win the race, and he just, that is about a foot misjudgment of where his left side tires are, and it snaps the car around. Again, I understand there will be some frustration, but he's trying to win the race, and then the correction, and nowhere to go for Carlson. Irizarry almost skates by this. Everett gets kind of net code clipped in the right rear. The best thing for those two cars is neither may have much damage, but they both are involved. There you see the consequential cars, Malarkey, Little, Hayden, and Coytrone missing the crash. Which is a really big deal for those cars. One more look, and then we're going back to get ready for what could very well be the most insane restart of the entire season. Oh, man. Big snap, big crash. Around goes Christian Strader. There will be 6 laps remaining. Here's how they'll line up. Harold Watkins has led a ton of the late stage of this race. He is the leader, trying to hold off a hard charge. Andrew Little, in a must-win position, is P2 on the inside of row number 1. Row 2, James Coytrone, also in a must-win position on newer tires, is 3rd. Stephen Luttrell is in 4th. What a moment it would be if he could go to victory lane in this one. Row 3, Justin Malarkey, also a must-win driver, also on newer tires. He'll line up 5th. Matt Hayden is also on new Goodyear Eagles. He runs in 6th. Travis Everett and GT Irizarry, seeing these guys in front of them, now must turn their attention to one another. In the event somebody outside the top 4 goes to victory lane, one of them will be eliminated. 6 laps remain in the round of 8. Green flag back in the air, and they are off and running towards turn 1. How much will the tires come into play for Coytrone, Malarkey, and Hayden, who all 3 have to win? It was a really good jump for Harold Watkins, and now into turn 1. Those guys have to make very quick work of the guys in front of them and then try to run down Harold Watkins, who is on 10-lap older tires. Look at Coytrone. The lunge to the inside for 2nd. He's got to make it quick. He has got to get this position by the time they come off turn number 4, then turn his focus to the 3 car in front of him. Into turn number 3. 6 laps to go. He has to run up the racetrack. He has to lift. Little has to lift as well, and that may be very well all she wrote in this one from Michigan. Little ran him down. He's going to run him all the way to the apron, and this is not helping James Coytrone. He'll get some help from out back. That's Justin Malarkey. 5 laps to go. Coytrone, you'll have to drive a good 1 and 2. You have got to get past the 68 here. You do not have a choice. You have to pass him, and he can't. Little holds the spot. And again, that may be all she wrote. Coytrone blocks to the wall. They're both in the fence, and that may be it. Coytrone's going around trouble. Around go the must-win cars, and that'll all but do it. Coytrone did not have the speed in the middle that he needed to get up to Harold Watkins, and he crashes here with 5 laps to go. He involves Matt Hayden, and he involves Justin Malarkey. So take back everything I said on the last caution, because now all 3 of those cars, well, Andrew Little is still very much in this. Malarkey is running 3rd. We'll see if he just stays out here. Honestly, I guess with 5 laps to go, I don't know how much it could possibly hurt you. Coitron just did not have the speed, especially on entry. He had been running the middle, and I don't know if he's having a lift. I think he's having a lift on entry. I'm not sure if he's hitting his entry point or if he's driving in too deep or what's going on. But regardless, he had to lift big right there, and that's going to kind of bring him into this fight, this hornet's nest behind him. And off turn 2, again, just kind of a must make move. I mean, you really don't have a choice. He runs Malarkey up. Malarkey's trying to kind of fade outside of him. They both get the wall. And Coitron, in an effort to try to save this car, his season's on the line. He goes sideways. He's going to get Malarkey again. Luttrell's going to get a piece of this. Matt Hayden's going to get a piece of this. That's a tough break for the 5, who likely his season now hangs in the balance as well. Tough break, unfortunate for those guys. And for James Coitron, who ran as good a race as he needed to run. And unfortunately, may just come up a tad bit short. After this move off of turn number 2, Malarkey was trying to get there. He's going to get the wall. Now we'll have to see how much damage is on this 73, because he kind of just hit it flush. And if he kind of got away without a ton of damage there, he stayed on the racetrack. According to live timing and scoring, he's just stayed out. He's going to try to just will that car to a potential victory, but we'll have to see how much that damage ails that car under another green flag restart. Oh, did not mean to fast forward it there. One more angle, then we'll go back. We'll get you set for what should be an overtime finish here at Michigan. And oh, man. It's a tough break for Coitron and Hayden and Luttrell, as all three are involved in a crash inside of 5 to go with major playoff implications. Now, the implications do not end there. Watkins continues to lead, but now he's got some company still behind him. Andrew Little runs in the 2nd position. That is still a must-win race car. Malarkey runs 3rd. He is going to elect to stay out with some damage here, coming to an overtime restart in 3rd, and I imagine, much like he did at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, likely will do some things that may or may not be appreciated by Harold Watkins. He runs 3rd. Rusty Modesty runs 4th. Then it's Travis Everett and Christian Schrader, 5th and 6th. Everett has got to hope Watkins drives away with the win, or that he's 3 spots in front of GT Irizarry when they come back around to the checkered flag. If Andrew Little or Justin Malarkey is able to win this race, he'll run from 5th on this restart. Then it's Brandon Beauchamp in 6th. GT Irizarry 7th. Same situation for him. Got to hope he's not too far behind the 13. Keep tabs with him, or hope Harold Watkins or Rusty Modesty is able to get this victory. James Coitron, Matt Hayden, I guess if Chaos erupts here up front, they're 9th and 10th, theoretically not out of it, still on the racetrack. Last car on the lead lap, Stephen Luttrell. Cody Eldred is 12th. He is multiple lap standings down, back to only 3 laps down. Hunter Carlson, Curtis Preston, Mike Martino have all called it a night from Michigan. It is popsicle sticks at the restart. It is 2 laps to go, and if Harold Watkins gets a good enough restart, you could almost argue that that is going to be all she wrote. If you're Malarkey and Little, you got to time this one. I know all season it's been a struggle for guys to time up Harold Watkins restarts, but you don't have a ton of choice here if you are Malarkey or Little. Even if Malarkey has to give a little bit of positive encouragement, shall we say, in the form of a bump to the 68, you've got to go, and go quickly. My question is, how much are you willing to put on the line if you're Malarkey or Little to get to victory lane and extend your season? Green flag back in the air. Great restart for Harold Watkins. In line to the start-finish line, Malarkey's going to dive out immediately. Justin Malarkey going to look for 2nd as soon as they hit the banking of turn 1. Shortest way around. He can kind of flat-foot it here on the bottom of 1 and 2. He's going to try to get 2nd. He can't flat-foot it. Little's to 2nd, and Watkins is running away. Harold Watkins runs away from the field. They're battling out back with Coitron and Hayden, but they just don't have enough time. Andrew Little does have some time if he can get back to him, though. When they get back to the start-finish line, the white flag will fly from Michigan, and Harold Watkins is driving away. White flag. 1 lap to go in Michigan in the round of 8. Little, one more opportunity here. 2/10 back. He's got to throw it all on the line here in turn 1. He's got to try to get to Watkins here. Drive it in deep enough you can keep tabs and hope you get a good exit. He did get a pretty good exit. Andrew Little, a car length from potentially a victory. Out back they jockey. Andrew Little, he's going to have one look at it. Where do you put your car if you're the 68? Where do you drive it in? He drives in deep. Does he get to Watkins? He drives up alongside him. We're going to be side by side for the win. Andrew Little, can he get the job done? All the way to the start-finish line. Dives to the apron. At the line, Harold Watkins survives by a bumper and wins at Michigan. Oh, man, Andrew Little. Oh, it's a heartbreaker. He got as close as you could possibly get. Could not quite get enough. If he had gotten a little more side draft, I think he probably wins. Instead, it is inches short of what would have been the most unlikely, heroic, storybook wins of the season. But he comes up just a little bit short. It is Harold Watkins that wins once again in Michigan, and he will burn it down here on the front stretch in the Irish Hills. He may drive that thing right in the Mobile One victory lane, and he will. He'll put that car right in the middle of Mobile One victory lane. It's a big win for Harold Watkins. We'll go back. We'll take a look real quick at the finish, the margin of victory, and then we'll come back, do race results, get some interviews, and discuss your Final Four. That has been set. But first, let's watch this lunge into 3. I mean, because this is about as close as you can possibly get. Andrew Little did everything he needed to do. I think right here, if he stays on that quarter panel for a second longer before he drives down to the apron, he probably wins this race. But he is just the slightest bit short. Oh, man. That's about as good a finish as you could have asked for. Let's see if we can kind of slow this one down way to the millisecond. Try to find you the exact margin of victory. And there it is from Michigan. The margin of victory, Harold Watkins over Andrew Little and Rusty Modesty in a banger of a finish here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Let's get your finishing results, and we'll talk to your top 3 and talk to you about next week, championship week, for the first time here in 2025. Harold Watkins wins what I believe is his 4th race of the season. I may even be shorting him one, so apologies if that's the case. I may be shorting him by one, but I believe it's his 4th win of the season here in Michigan. He'll go first with Andrew Little, 28 1,000 short of a season-saving victory. Rusty Modesty finishes 3rd tonight. Travis Everett finishes 4th. That's going to be good enough for him to race for a championship in a week's time. GT Irizarry finishes 5th. He is also in the championship 4. Matt Hayden finishes 6th tonight, and it's just going to be a little bit short on that last restart. He almost, if he had a few more laps, he might have gotten there, but finishes 6th tonight. James Coytrone in 7th. Justin Malarkey in 8th. 3 of the must-win drivers are all 3 eliminated in tonight's event. Christian Strader goes 9th tonight. Stephen Luttrell finishes in 10th. Brandon Beauchamp in 11th. Cody Eldred 12th. Hunter Carlson 13th. Curtis Preston in 14th. And Mike Martino back in 15th position. We're going to go get your top 3 for some post-race interviews. In fact, they're going to do it to me again. Man, these guys are on it this season, getting in the waiting room. So let's get right to it. Without further ado, let's get into your top 3. We'll start with the man who finished 3rd, and really, if they continue to side draft, if it was Talladega, probably wins the race. And it's Rusty Modesty in the 6th. One of his best efforts of the season tonight for the 6th. We'll talk to him. Plus 10, 13th to 3rd. It's Rusty Modesty on the first step of the podium tonight in Michigan. Actually, first, in a line of technical difficulties tonight. Let's make sure that you guys can hear the drivers. We should be all set now, and let's bring him in here. Rusty Modesty, third place finisher. Rusty, it's Dawson in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, Dawson.
Well, a race that had a little bit of everything tonight in Michigan, and a non-points guy, I guess, and I hate to use that expression, but a guy not really in the same boat as in Andrew Little in this case. A good finish for you, and I gotta imagine third place, despite the fact that your playoff run ended a couple of weeks ago. I gotta imagine this feels pretty good. It helps you build for next season. Take me through your night in Michigan and how it feels to get a podium finish here as we get to wrapping up the season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just out here for fun at this point. The kind of lucked out on strategy there with some unforeseen cautions, so decided I think the field had a pretty good split towards the 3/4 mark, and majority of the drivers took a set of tires or last set of tires, so I didn't and stayed out. And there were a few of us. I know Matt Hayden won. That we just kind of held our own on the old tires, so and ran the preferred line and stuck with it that way. So allowed us for another late caution to come in and take that extra set, and it seemed to work, kind of helping avoid the chaos. And kind of backed into this one, to be honest.
Well, nonetheless, in a finish like this, you have points guys all around you. I mean, Harold Watkins locked in last week, but Andrew Little has to win. Travis Everett, if Andrew Little wins, he's kind of pushing the envelope a little bit. GT's kind of in the same boat. Matt Hayden, James Coytrone, Justin Malarkey. I mean, there were all kinds of different scenarios tonight and guys racing for different things.
We were talking about it. I mean, Andrew kind of, we did the rough calculation there and realized he had to win to move on. But not for him tonight, I guess. We were talking about maybe if I could have got below him and pushed him past Harold or something, but I don't know if that would have worked, but you never know.
Well, nonetheless, a third place finish for you tonight. Again, a good result as start to look towards next season, the second half of 2025, which gets started in 2 weeks at Atlanta. A third place finish tonight for you. Got to be some good momentum. So before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, shout out to Harold and Andrew, both good finishes representing their home state of Michigan. So good on them. Shout out to you, Dawson, and putting on this great broadcast, man. You do an awesome job. And shout out to everyone that keeps the league running. Some of the sponsors like Watford Concepts, and James Wright, who's our race control, who does a great job for us. Just everyone that kind of makes it go around. So appreciate everyone involved.
Appreciate you talking to me for a second. Congratulations on the third place finish. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We'll see you next week in Pocono.
Thanks, Dawson.
Rusty Modesty, the third place finisher tonight in Michigan. Well, now go to the man who finished second, and it does not get tougher than this. You've been in this position before in a playoff style format. This is a heartbreaker for Andrew Little, who ran about the best last lap you possibly could have against the best of the best in the Challenger Cup Series this season, and came up this far short, a half car length from racing next week for a championship in Pocono. We'll get his perspective and kind of get how he's feeling here after a third place finish here in Michigan. It's Andrew Little in the 68.
Hey.
Andrew, it's Dawson in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you, bud. How you doing?
Well, not too bad. Sorry to cut you off there, but man, I was saying it a minute ago. I said it right after the race ended. Look, this one hurts. As a driver myself, I've been in this spot. It does not get any easier. And look, drove a phenomenal race, called a strategy call, got up front, and you come up just a half a car length short. Regardless, it's a fantastic run for you. Take me through kind of the feelings right now, the raw feelings of it getting out of the car after a second place run tonight in Michigan.
It's a little bit rough just to come up that short because I didn't get any stage points in the first one, so I pretty much I think needed the win in order to get into the final round of 4 here, and so to have it be that close and just not able to get it done is a little bit rough. I mean, I could have used up Harold a little bit more, or I could have used him up at all. I didn't even touch him. But, that's kind of not the way I want to run or the way I like to run here. So, in the end, I wasn't able to get the job done. So it is what it is. We move on and go try to see if we can get a win for the final round.
Well, yeah. Now you talked about that, and look, I've kind of asked a couple guys this over the course of the playoffs, but getting eliminated now, you kind of look forward to next season. I was talking to Rusty about it a second ago. What is kind of the mindset at Pocono? Like, what are you looking to accomplish? Kind of, what are you looking for next week? Is it, kind of finishing this season strong? Is it building for next season? Is it a mix? Obviously, a unique schedule in Challenger where we kind of just get back to it the week after the championship race. We don't have an off season, if you will. So, kind of, what is the mindset and how does that scheduling play into it? Just kind of take me through as a driver, not racing for points next week. Kind of, what are you looking for in that championship race?
Oh, I'm gonna try to win, but not affect any of the guys that are in the in the final four. So if I could pull a Ross Chastain at Phoenix in, oh God, was it 2022?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, or whatever it was, where he won the race and what's his face, Blaney got the championship. I'll take that. If I can do that, that's what I'm gonna try to do.
We're looking forward to it next week in Pocono. Meanwhile, tonight, a second place finish. Obviously, not the result that you were hoping for, but still a really good run as you continue on what has been a good season for you. So before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Well, thanks to the wife and the my son upstairs. They couldn't be here tonight because, they got school in the morning, so they couldn't be here tonight. But and then of course the guys in the league and everybody's helping us run this league together has been really cool. And then my shout out to my little side business and company, Waterford Concepts, and one of my customers, LH Inventions, for all the Bridgemate stuff. And I got to throw out admin boxes. Helped us call some races with race control and our race control J-Dub. He couldn't be here tonight. He's just coming back from Colorado, but hopefully he was able to maybe tune in and watch a little bit before he has to head back to the salt mines to work tomorrow. So anyway, that's about it. And you've been doing a really good job, Dawson. We appreciate the broadcast.
And I've had a lot of fun doing it as well. A second place finish for you tonight. A little bit short of the playoffs, but still a good result. We're looking forward to next week as we wrap up the season. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We will talk to you next week in Pocono.
Yeah, bud. Have a good one.
Andrew Little in the 68, the second place finisher tonight. And now we'll talk to the winner and the man who's been the most dominant car in this series all season long. He was all but locked in last week, 33 points above the cut line coming into tonight, but he puts a nice bow on his pre-championship playoff run. Next week's win, the chips really mean a lot for him in terms of the championship fight. It's Harold Watkins, his fourth win of the year in Michigan, comes here tonight in the penultimate race of the season. We'll talk to him. It's Harold Watkins in the 3-car, the winner from the Irish Hills. Harold, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, I got you, Dawson.
Boy, a fun race. A race that had a little bit of everything. You ran up front some, led some laps, looked like you were going to cruise. Some cautions come out, kind of forced you to make some passes. I mean, take me through really the last, I would say probably 25 laps of this race. That caution comes out with 25 to go. And after that, it was chaos. You're leading on some of the restarts. You started as far back as 6th. Kind of take me through that last scramble, having to pass playoff guys. First of all, guys that had to win tonight, all the way leading up to a fantastic finish with another guy who had to win, and Andrew Little. Take me through a wild one here in Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, I started the race in second and then spun on the first. Not spun, but I got loose and dropped back, and I actually learned a lot about getting through traffic. So I think that's what helped me the most. I knew a little bit of how to save, and I think it's pretty opposite for me. And I wasn't the greatest on the short run, but on the long run, I think I was really strong. And so I kind of just used that same strategy those last 25 laps where I wasn't really going all out, but I was doing enough to keep the lead in the clean air, while also trying to save enough to where those restarts weren't going to kill me if we kept having to go through them.
Well, look, at one point in the late race, in the late stage of this race, we had a bit of a moment where, for a second, you were in and around a guy that had to win and a guy that we all know it's widely known at this point. There was some conflict a couple weeks ago, but drove right past him. Kind of take me through that mindset as a driver. 2 weeks ago, there was frustration. I know that frustration bled into tonight, and it obviously becomes a factor. But at the end of the day, did the mindset change? Are you looking more at next week? Or you kind of take me through that dynamic as well, because we did see that late in the race. I thought for a second it was going to be a storyline, but you just drove on by and completed your business. Kind of take me through that sense here tonight in Michigan as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's no sense in wrecking a guy that I was way faster than all night. So that's the first and foremost thing. And the more important thing to me was I thought I was the best car all night, and I wanted to win. So I wasn't going to really risk anything just to get payback there. Winning's still more important to me than some beef. But if it came down to it, I can assure you that he was not winning this race. There would have been no chance of that.
Well, boy, luckily for you, it did not come down to that. You end up crossing the line first regardless. Now we turn the page, though. I'm not going to say you've cruised in the playoffs. Certainly, there's been a couple moments, but now the points are all even. We go into the round of 4. It's best man wins. It's best of 4. You have to finish the best of those 4 cars. And it's going to be 3 other cars that have been very, very competitive all season. It's John Velocity, it's GT Erziri, and it's Travis Everett. What's the confidence level for you next week to try to complete a dominant season with a championship? Kind of take me through the game plan for Pocono Raceway next week for the Championship 4.
Yeah, I think honestly it's going to be more of the same of what we did tonight. We're going to be a little bit patient. We're not going to blow our stuff off. And the main thing is just making sure you have a shot at the end. So it's kind of just doing whatever it takes to do that and making sure you have track position, because that's going to be really important. With this new update, clean air is paramount. So it's just going to be about finding that and just not blowing stuff off like I've had a tendency to do at times. And I think I found something tonight. I don't know if it's the new build. I don't know if it's maturity. All I know is I feel like I was really good on the long run, so we're going to try to use that momentum.
Well, we're looking forward to it. You'll be racing for a championship next week, but before we get to that, it's another win here tonight in Michigan. A dominant season continues for you with another trip to Victory Lane. Before we let you go, we do want to give you an opportunity. Are there any shout-outs, thank yous that you'd like to give?
Yeah, shout out to everyone in the league that does things to make this thing work. There's a lot of people that are putting a lot of hard work in, building sessions, doing points, keeping track of different little things, doing thumbnails, things like that. It takes a lot to make a league run, and appreciate everyone that puts their time in. Thank you to you up in the booth, and thanks to everyone in the league that's racing. It was really fun, and Michigan's my home track, so it was awesome to get a win there.
A fun race to watch, an exciting finish, but now we turn the page, and it all matters most next week in Pocono. It's all to race for as you race for a Challenger Cup Series championship. Thanks for talking to me for a second. Congratulations on the victory. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We will see you next week for the Championship 4 at Pocono.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Dawson.
Harold Watkins wins. Another win in a dominant season for him in the Challenger Cup Series with another trip to Victory Lane here tonight in Michigan. Want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. That's going to all but do it for post-race coverage and all-around coverage from the Michigan International Speedway. Head over to our main page. It's the Ron Morris Racing's Tuesday Night Thunder Series with Michael Triscaro and Ron Morris on the call. That race is live now over there on our main page. Hit the like and subscribe while you're there and help us continue to grow this thing. Some cool stuff coming up. But now that information's out, I believe I can announce it. Late July, it will be the SummerSlam 499 for PGR eSports. It'll be over the course of that weekend in late July. I cannot wait. I'll be on the broadcast team for that race most likely, and I cannot wait for that event. Last year's a smashing success. This year should be even better as we get ready for one of the crown jewels of PGR eSports this summer, coming up here in really just about a month and a half. Earlier than that, the week before July 4th, most likely, the date has not been completely set yet, but the week before July 4th, it'll be the first ever PGR eSports Old School 400 from Daytona in the brand new to iRacing 2005 Gen 4 race cars. They came out today. They look fantastic. They sound fantastic. And it should be a good one. We're going to throw it back to the mid-2000s and put on a plate race. I believe it's going to be the week before July 4th. Again, the date has not been solidified, but keep an eye out on the PGR Discord and our YouTube channels and our announcements here at the end of races for the official date. And that one will be a lot of fun as well. It will be a select field of some of the best in plate racing on iRacing. And we'll take to the track in Daytona to compete for a victory and the glory. Coming up later this week, tomorrow night, Roughneck Racing's Money Madness Series with Michael Triscaro on the call. He'll be on tomorrow night. Thursday night, PGR eSports Intimidator Super Speedway Series has called an audible this week. It will be those same new Gen 4 cars at Talladega this Thursday night in their PGR debut. We'll be coming to the Intimidator Super Speedway Series. It will likely be either Austin or Landon on the call for that one. I will likely be, hopefully, on track. I want to get a chance to run those cars, so looking forward to that on Thursday. Some more racing coming up throughout the weekend as well. The BGR Light Series has come to an end for the season, came to an end last night as Stephen Miles was crowned its champion and moves on now to race with the big dogs full time. The Light Series will be done, but there will still be races on Monday nights, and those will be likely broadcast here on PGR eSports, so keep an eye out for that. For us, next week is it for Season 1 here in 2025. It's flown by, and it comes to an end next week at the Pocono Raceway, 8:35 p.m. here on the PGR eSports Network. I'll have the call for you for what should be a very interesting Pocono race to win a championship here in the Challenger Cup Series. The Final Four, Harold Watkins, Travis Everett, GT Irizarry, and of course I'm blanking on the final car. John Velocity, who won last week to win his way into that championship four. Those are the four that will compete for a Challenger Cup Series championship, but tonight it's Harold Watkins in Victory Lane in the Irish Hills of Michigan. That's going to do it for me. My name is Dawson Wise. You've been watching PGR eSports. Until next time, it's going to be championship week in the Challenger Cup Series. We'll be crowned the first champion of 2025. We'll see you in a week's time. I'll see you next Tuesday. Keep tuning in to PGR eSports throughout the week, and until next time,